This is Natalie McQueen with Become an Author podcast. And today we have a very special guest that we're going to talk to very shortly, but we're going to talk about healing through your story. And of course, I'm here with my co host, Jessie Bowen. How are you doing today, Jessie?
Better, better, and better, trying to make the world a better place.
That's what we're all about. All right. So, how do you want to go in with this? Usually, we have a little chat, and I know that this Maggie's book is so inspiring, and it's about her life and her healing journey. But we want to talk to other authors about maybe how they can write their book and start healing through their story.
Okay. Hey, Maggie, if you're not muted, if you would mute, we got some background noise coming in here from someplace. And it's not you. And I don't think it's me. But anyway, well, I think that we really want to start off by really touching about that healing through your story. Not just healing yourself, but really reaching out and trying to heal others. And this is what our becoming author is about. We have learned how our stories and our books, how they're impacting lives. So this whole part about healing and why someone should, tell their story. Don't keep it to yourself. Tell it, because something that's happening in your life may impact the lives of others. We talk about legacy, and that's what legacy is for me to be able to share what I know to be able to help others. And Natalie, I think you're muted now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties here. Yeah, so what I love is a book can really help you to go through your journey and to share, some vulnerabilities, that things that you've had to go through and live through. And then, however you have got through it, however you have learned to get out on your own and see your own power and the resilience that people go through as they grow up and realize that they don't have to endure what they had to. So, what I love about Maggie's story is, Maggie, do you have your book there? It's Making Maggie.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, hold that up for us. Such a beautiful cover.
And, Elite Publications, we are starting a new program that each week we try to recognize our authors. So, Maggie, you are our author of the week. Congratulations. We're Elite Publications. We're blessed to have a lot of really great people who are publishing their books through us. And, your story is a powerful story. And you have another book that's coming out. And this is a sort of a redo of your first book. But, it's really a very powerful and moving book, and it has purpose. So if you're looking to write a memoir or something you're trying to do, remember, your story can be impactful. Don't be ashamed of your story. Those are things. We all have had life things that's happened to us. And if we had to go back and redo them, what would we do? How would we do it? So when you're dealing with a memoir, that's a good autobiography. You have those things that can help someone else. So I think that Maggie's book really, it gives you insight that people may think that we're all the same, but we all have problems. So where we are now in life and our success points, a lot of times are because of the things of our lives, the way that they were, and we outgrew who we were at that time. And it's made us, strong and powerful. And, Maggie's story as a martial arts master and contributing to the community, I can see, as a martial artist myself, how this is impacting, her, and how she's impacting the world.
Yeah. What I love, Maggie has a quote that says, "It is who we become despite our story." So share with us, Maggie, why that statement is so important to you.
It's important because I think a lot of people, because of their story, they allow the story to keep them stuck. And we can have a riveting story. We can come from a past that is just so profoundly upsetting. We have two choices. We can stay there, or we can just dig deep and do what's necessary to rise above it. And it is the most selfless thing you can do in your life, because no one wants to have all of your stuff aired out in the world like that. It is very personal, some of the stuff, but it's just so imperative, because this is the only way that we're going to be the change in the world, is by allowing ourselves to tell our stories, so others know that you're not alone in your story, and sky's the limit. It's the hardest way is straight through our story, and to do what we need to do to become who we are, despite. But it's necessary if you want to be happy.
Was there a point that you had to give yourself permission to heal and to maybe forgive and move on?
Absolutely. Um, I had fortunately lost three of my siblings during COVID, and although I wrote the book Making Maggie prior to their deaths, it opened my eyes to uh, knowing how important it is to tell my story because of their deaths. They passed on because of the way we were brought up, and by society believing that when you're a child that comes from abuse or circumstance, that once you become of age and you have your own family, and you have a job, respectable job, a career, that you're done with it. It's over. But it's not. It doesn't leave you until you take the hardest journey, which is to do what is necessary to work through it and try to understand it and heal yourself from the inside
Right.
out, which is the hardest thing I've ever done. And um, when my siblings passed away, I knew then that it was more important than ever, because there are so many people who are victims of drug abuse and suicide.
Yeah.
And I know it so well and so personal. And, you know, for just one person to know that it hurts like hell today, but tomorrow you're going to experience a freedom that you never thought possible.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key points about your book, Maggie, and for other people that may be hurting on the inside because it's trapped
Mhm.
and there's no way to get it out. And a book is a great way, whether you journal and never publish it, because I used to journal, and to write things down that's going on in your daily life. I kept a good news journal and a bad news journal, because I didn't want to sort of mix them together. So, my bad news journal with all the things that was going on, that I didn't like, that I knew I needed to change. My
Right.
good news journal was when I made those changes and I wrote about the good things. And a lot of the bad things, I would tear the sheets out and then put them in the trash, tear them up, put them in the trash. I
Mhm.
just needed to be able to get it out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we really have to realize, that mental illness, the way that we want to classify it, it has been going along for a long time. And what does that really mean? Is that things that are trapped on the inside that you hold on to, and that you give those things power, and there's no way to escape. We have the psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're there for people that we want, that when you need to talk, and a lot of those services are not there. So what do you do in situations when things are trapped on the inside? I'm a 10th degree black belt. Oh, nothing bothers you, Hanchi. But, that's not true, because, we all have things that go on. It's the ways that we learn to deal with those different things. And I think, Maggie, your book is an excellent example that, for a lot of the martial arts community, they see you as this master instructor, a successful school. They see all these things, but they don't know your foundation. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that. How has the martial arts influenced your life? I know, you have to read the book. We see the things that you went through. And why don't you share just a few of those things so our listeners can get an understanding? Because a lot of our listeners who are in the martial arts community, they see you as this vibrant person, but they don't really know. And you're that beacon of light for the ladies in the martial arts, for young ladies coming up in the martial arts. You are a beacon of light. So why don't we share just a little bit, into the Making Maggie?
Sure. Just one comment on the tail on what you had just said about shame. Shame keeps us stuck. That's one thing I've learned. So it's that shame that we have to work through. And remember, our past is not a reflection on who we are today. I got started in the martial arts. I was always very athletic in school, and when I aged out of the foster care system, I needed something to do, somewhere to belong. I was kind of lost, and I started doing martial arts, and I will say, martial arts saved my life. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that direction. It was like military, it kept me on a fine line. It kept me away from the drugs and the alcohol, and more, working out and staying healthy. I fell in love with it right away. And I was able to push my body to physical, levels where just really it was a testimony of my inner toughness.
Mm-hmm.
I started training in Brooklyn, New York. I mean, like anything, every journey has its good and every journey has its bad. I mean, that's just life in itself. But I was always one that I wanted to make all the wrongs in the world right. And it started from when I was in high school, and I couldn't play. Girls didn't have basketball team. Girls didn't this, and it was almost like I was always on a mission, but I never really knew I was on a mission at the time. And martial arts set me on that mission as well. I mean, when I started teaching kids, especially the teenage groups, it kind of put me in contact with my own self, and said, wow, if I can just make this kid feel really good about themselves and believe in themselves, then that just, my life is golden.
Mm-hmm.
And I set out on that path. And as I suffered through discrimination with women in the martial arts, I mean, it's, very few women did martial arts. It wasn't ladylike. When I started, my dad said, what are you doing that for? That's not ladylike. You're not supposed to do that. And, I reflect back and I said, wow, if I hadn't done martial arts, I'm not sure I would be here today. It in turn saved my life. And it put me in contact with a family, a family of a family. And, you take the good and you leave the rest. But my soul mission is all about, it's always been and will always be about helping the cause and helping others.
Mm-hmm.
In the martial arts right now, my big thing is that, making the wrongs right for our little girls, coming up in the ranks and competing. Women, we were either put in the juniors division or no division. And it never sat well with me. And so I've made it my mission to try to level the playing field for our young girls today. And it's happening, and
Right.
even, there's organizations out there as of 2024, they're changing the rules. Women are going to have the same playing field as men. And that's just incredible that, I'm not one person that did that. That's just my voice and a lot of other people getting together and, voicing our opinions and, wanting to make things right, but willing to do at all costs, doing what we have to do to, make that happen.
Right.
And, that's just my sole mission. I mean, writing my book, um, it was about, you know, when you come from such a deep, deep mentally ill place, and abuse, there are so many children today that are still suffering. And it really breaks my heart that some of these people, they don't see a way out. They think this is their life. This is what they settle for. And unfortunately, people are dying. Children are dying. Adults are dying. People are dying. And these people, some of these people can bring so much value to the world. And to be overlooked, it's just such a crime in itself.
Mhm.
And I'm only one person. I can only do so much. And by sharing my story, and being completely selfless with it and putting it all out there, I'm hoping that other people can do the same, so the world can see what a big problem it is.
Right.
It's just the mental illness is just so profound. I believe that COVID really pushed so many people over the edge, with the isolation and just the anxiety of the possibility of death or being sick. And it's just so sad. I was in the city last night, and I see it everywhere. And people look at homeless people and say, oh, well, why doesn't he get a job, or why doesn't he take a shower? They're disassociated from this planet. They're not here. Their bodies are here, but they're not. And what caused that disassociation? What trauma? What happened in their lives that caused that mental break? And I know it so well that when I look at a homeless person, that's what I look at. And I'm hoping that more of society does that as well. Instead of looking at someone like they're just a bum and they don't want to work and they don't want to be successful and a positive part of society. People have to understand and look a little bit deeper than that. And it's just truly sad.
Well, congratulations on the work you're doing and the differences that you're making, especially for those little girls. Um, I want to ask you a question. Has has someone known you but not your full story and then read your story? What is the reaction that you
Oh
get?
my God. I had no idea. I would have never known. You always have a smile on your face. You're so positive. I just thought that your dad bought you that school, and I'm a person of privilege. And I'm like, no, nothing's further from the truth. And that's another reason why I wrote my book, because people judge people by, never judge a book by its cover. And
Right.
that's why I chose the picture I did. I mean, you look at a beauty queen on a book, and right away you think, oh wow, they had everything. No,
Yeah.
being in a beauty pageant isn't, 9 times out of 10 is not the greatest thing to be in. You know, 9 times out of 10, if a child's in a beauty pageant, it's not because the child wants to be there. It's a parent living vicariously through their children, or a paycheck for the rest of the
Right.
family. So yeah.
That's amazing. I
So,
mean, I give you full credit to be authentic and vulnerable and put your story out there. But I know from the pieces that I have absorbed, and it is hard to absorb. It's shocking, when you've never been exposed to that kind of abuse, and to see what an amazing and strong woman you are now, making such an impact is just incredible.
You had mentioned early. You had mentioned about the guilt, or feeling like deserving. And
Right.
that is a big thing. That is a big emotion that comes from when you're from that walk of life, is the guilt and the deserving of being on the other side, they say. And that is something that most people from that walk of life suffer from. It's the guilt, as if you don't deserve it. And that guilt runs so profoundly, and it runs so deep that it actually changes your behavior and your reaction to everyday life.
Sure.
If you meet someone and their reaction is, oh, they have the reaction as if they're angry and they feel like you're trying to get over on them.
Right.
Those are people who come from deep abuse. There's a reason why they're feeling that way. And that was me at one point, where I was, somebody, I felt somebody was trying to get over or get something from me. I reacted very angry and just very reactive. And people look at you like, wow, that you're crazy. What's wrong with you? It's not a big deal. Well,
Right.
That the emotion is so much deeper, and the reason from the reaction that, hopefully, that helps people as well
Yeah.
to understand that your past is in your DNA. It's there. You may think it's not, but your reaction, your relationships, and the way you get along with people, and the boundaries you put up,
Right.
are all the results from that.
And Maggie, what's the name of your school and where is it located?
It's Take Hold Taekwondo and Fitness. It's located in Alberton, New York, Nassau County, right over the Queens border.
And I said to the martial arts community, and that's what we're trying to do with Elite Publication and Gifts of Legacy, is to be able to share, the information and be that placeholder that we can make a difference through our story. And our stories are, they're powerful when we think about ancestry. Everyone wants to know their history, because if we don't, then we do things and we don't know why we are doing them. But as you said before, we talk about DNA, but a lot of times our family connections, even though we may not even be together, there are certain ways and things that we do. And the more that we know about these things, we can change them. That's why, our lifestyle of whether it's drinking, drugs, or whatever abuse may be. And if we find that going through the cycles of our family, and that's what we talked about in the book that I wrote last year about forgiveness. That's a family cycle. And, and I talk about in the book that it's not a part of DNA, but it is a part of behavior. And a lot of it is because of learned behavior. But when we can understand where we've been and understand our families, and we can put markers over those things that I don't want to do that, I don't want to be like that, then we can change. Or if I'm here, I can grow. So a lot of times our fail points are our positive points to pick us up and to be able to make us stronger. And as you said before in your story, as a 10th degree black belt and all the things I've been blessed to accomplish, it had not been for a great martial arts instructor teaching me martial arts and about life. And not necessarily about the physical life, but about the inner life. And I think that with your book, and when we start to see these things that happen in your inner life, but we turn around and we look at your success points, that gives us hope that we can grow from whatever that was prohibiting us, that was keeping us down, that we can grow from it. And this is what we want to learn and to recognize in the martial arts, is because it's not just a kick and punch, but it is the internal development, that we achieve. And Natalie, I know that we talk about legacy, and you're a legacy specialist, because along with you, we understand that, I know in the martial arts community, what I leave for my black belts is my history. What I leave for the community are the things that we achieve and that we actually do. So, and now coming up in the new magazine, we have several new things coming out. And Natalie, you just released a piece in the magazine on legacy.
I did. One of the things I want to back up a little bit about the DNA, if we, are carrying lack mindsets or unworthy or many things that can be passed down in generations, if we acknowledge it and we see that it doesn't fit who we want to be, then we do have the ability to make those changes. Would you agree, Maggie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Yep. It sometimes we, we capture those beliefs, we hang on to them, carry them, and then, I have a story in my book that talks about a woman making, I think it was Thanksgiving dinner with her daughter. And they took out the pan and they took out the ham and they cut off both ends of the ham and put it in the pan, put it in the oven. And the daughter said, "So, Mom, why do you do that?" She goes, "I don't know. Grandma always did that and great grandma did it." She said, "Well, let's call Grandma and ask why she did that." And so they call the grandmother, and the grandmother says, she starts laughing and she says, "Because back in the day, our ovens were much smaller and the pan didn't fit.
Oh,
So,
man.
so they would cut off both ends of
Wasting
the
all
pan,
that ham.
and it was just passed on." Now that's more a tradition, but yeah, there's no need for that anymore. And that's the amazing part. If we see a belief or a tradition that doesn't serve us, we have the ability to change it into a new one that serves us much better.
And that's the
Yeah.
importance of doing the work. Doing work on yourself is because, we are what we feed ourselves. And if we have that belief system inside of us, we can believe that, we're stupid. I'm stupid. I'm not as smart as everyone else because and it's so deep in your DNA. It's so deep in your skin that you believe that no matter what. And then you just have to, take that belief system out and start, understanding that you're not stupid, you're smart. And then
Right.
you just become a completely different person within time.
Yeah. And it does take time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Maggie, for doing the work that you're doing, because this will carry on and create new generations of kids feeling better about themselves and carrying that confidence that they can be an impact.
Thank you.
And, as always, it's great to have, guests, like you, Maggie, our authors that are, being published through Elite Publications. And everyone, if you want to know more about how you can become a published author, how you can share your story, reach out to us. You can go to our website, which is elitepublications.org. You can email us, and that's info@elitepublications.org. And again, Natalie is our international director of bestsellers. And hey, and Natalie, we have to talk about the book for a second. We just released the Who's Who in the Martial Arts, Cynthia Rothrock book. And what do we get? Something like 58 different
in 6 different countries.
Yeah, I mean, we were recognized in 6 countries, and most people may not realize that when you publish your book, that's only the first step, because people have to read it in order for you to be able to sell the book or be able to get that value out there. And Amazon, they put out about 4,000 Kindle books, what's it, a day? And if you're not marketing your book, then it goes to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And it stays there. And it's really tough to move it from the bottom up. But we have a system that when you launch your book, how you can become the #1 bestseller in that top 100 best-selling books, hot new releases. And that's what we've done with the Cynthia Rothrock book, the Who's Who in the Martial Arts. So that's our latest book coming out. Tomorrow, we have Sifu Alan Goldberg on a special interview, and we're doing a magazine and a book for his event on Michael D. Squally and his contributions to the martial arts. So that magazine is going to be coming out tomorrow. It's going to be available on Amazon. It's going to be available on MedCloud. It's going to be in a Kindle format and a download. So don't forget to be checking tomorrow for the release of the new Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine. And tomorrow we're also going to be launching the upcoming book for the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors. That book is going to be start registration tomorrow for your bio to be recognized in that book. And so we do have a lot going on here at Elite Publications. And again, Natalie is our foundation person that really helps to be able to get your books from the bottom to the top. So that's great. Any last things from you, Natalie?
No, I would just say, Maggie, how do people get hold of you if they want to reach out?
You can go to tatteredlaces.com, or you can go to, it's right on the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just Google my name and it comes up, and just reach out to me that way.
Absolutely. So people, go out, grab a copy of this story. It's an amazing story. And then reach out to Maggie and let her know, your thoughts on the book. Go back to Amazon where you purchased it, or on the book site, and leave a review. That really helps the author to understand your likes, your dislikes, but the passion, like there may be some way that you want to come together and work with Maggie, so reach out. Authors love the feedback. Anything?
All right, everyone. This is Jessie Bowen along with my co-host Natalie McQueen, and we have our guest there, Maggie Messina, today. And thank you, Maggie, for being on our podcast. And remember, everyone has a story. You just have to get it out. Everyone, this is Jessie Bowen saying be blessed. Remember, like our podcast, remember to share, and let's make the world a better place.